Getting in front of your fandom. Hashtag recast T'Challa. The hashtag restore the Snyderverse should learn something. Next up on Just to Talk So, let's talk about it. And welcome to the Flicks Picks and the Nitpicks, and I am your host Nove 718, and we're gonna get right to it, man. Now look, man, there ain't no faking, no fussing with me on this side. You can come to my channel, know I'm a big supporter of Release the Snyder Cut. You know, I was there from day uno. I supported my own kind of minuscule way because, you know, this is my first time. I won't say first time. Well, I'm not active. Like, I'm part of fandoms, but I'm not like no card carrying. I wouldn't even know where to begin with some shit like that. You feel me? But I found people that pretty much were, and they were very much involved, and I found them on YouTube, and they were talking about all the things that I was talking about when it concerned it. So, you know, as they were getting access to the information and giving it out there, I was one of those there from day uno. You know what I'm saying? So, that's full disclaimer. So I was out there, but then you can also look at my channel and tell, like, several different times, I'm not like any other fan, or I'm not begotten from most fandoms the way a lot of other people operate. I don't, not to knock nobody else, I just don't soldier up about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm very much direct to the point. I don't like team up over this joint. You know what I'm saying? When I say team up, I mean I don't rock it like it's a gang or some shit. You feel me? Like, I ain't trying to ride on nobody about it. You feel me? Because I understand it's still a film. There's businesses, and I paid attention to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, money make things happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm honest enough to say I remember a lot of people was hating on Zach in the beginning, so I could see why they wanted to turn do a full heel toe. I loved what he was doing. So selfish means like, give me more. And if you could give me more, give me more. But there was an audience. You kept balancing up against, you know, Marvel. And, you know, the fandom was kind of very weird about how they was attacking Zack Snyder and his movies. It was just weird. It was like this whole weird smear campaign about it, where everybody was just doing it for like clicks or some shit. But needless to say, and it was a weird time where people like grown-ups was on some like you ruined my childhood kind of fake, you know, like I don't know, it was just kind of like this like fake like outrage about, you know what I'm saying? So neither here nor there. But then also now you can also pay attention to my channel and also know that I am balanced about mine. You know what I mean? I look at it from both angles. You know what I'm saying? And even though I'm very impassioned about it, just like a lot of you guys are about your fandoms, you know what I mean? I try not to let my passion get me to a place of being ignorant, rude, effed up about it, because at the end of the day, these are still just movies, you know, and people make and lose a lot of money just doing this, and I don't own the properties. You know what I'm saying? I can only vote with my dollars. You know what I'm saying? And so then now we come to, if you pay attention to my channel, recast T'Challa, and I've been very clear about how I feel about that. I don't go that far back with it because, you know, once Marvel said they ain't doing it, I was like, fuck it. Like, I thought it was a poor decision. You know, I remember, and we're going to talk on them. I don't like bringing up too many YouTubers, but for the sake of this, because, you know, I got a source where it's coming from directly. John Campia, a very prolific YouTuber, who kind of really is the architect of the space. You know what I mean? And however you feel about him, that's kind of like the fact. But that being said, he's kind of a very, for the most part, consistent. For the most part, very consistent. and whether you like him or not. But he's talked about recast T'Challa. He's talked about it. And he said he thought it would be the decision that they should do. And he's also said that he feels like, and he said this prior, way before this has happened. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. But he's always said that the actor should serve the character, not the character should serve the actor. He's always said that. That's why I could really say, him saying that they should recast from the very beginning. Yep. He was probably the first person to say it out loud on record. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was on YouTube that had a name. Yeah. First one. And he didn't, I could guarantee he got it from no one because he's been talking like that for a long time. That being said, now I want to get you up to the person that started the hashtag. E-Man from E-Man News. Go to his channel. Very impassioned guy about this. And I totally agree with him in terms of recasting T'Challa. I may vary somewhere here and there when it comes to the reasons backing it. For the most part, man, I'm kind of, I'm well over 50% in agreement. And the way he's approached it from a different angle that I never looked at it as, even though I might be like, I don't want to say it's not a reach, but for me, that wasn't what I saw. That wasn't something that I took in. But it is a position that for those that are really heavy into looking into nuances for the sake of consistency, you should really listen to the reasons why. And I think there's plenty of valid ones. Some that is so easy to and obvious and so much on the nose. But this is not about what I think, because you guys know what I think. I think they should recast. It's gonna be you know my channel, how this ends. You know what this is. This is what I really feel. You know what I'm saying? And this is not at a knock or aside to Chadwick Boseman, his memory and what he poured into the character. It's actually to honor with the journey that he began for the character. And I think it shouldn't end. I think it should continue. Without any weird additives. Like, it doesn't need it. If we're going to do that, fine. Multiverse, all of that. You want to take one from another multiverse. I guess I'll accept it, but I don't want it. I just want just T'Challa, no additives. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I did like is that on his show, because I caught it, and I remember watching that episode that E-Man was referring to, where on John Campion's show, people write in. So that's kind of the nature of the show. So they ask him questions and he makes his opinion. And someone brought up the fact that they heard that the recast T'Challa thing was kind of like at a slight to Shuri being the Black Panther, not wanting there to be any female Black Panther, basically going on the level of it being a sexist group. And or if it wasn't the person that wrote it, one of his co-hosts had said that I remember. The co-host had actually said that she is it because of it being a woman, because she heard that somewhere too. And E-Man did the smartest thing. He got on the mic, he got out in front, and he's also been the face of his movement. He started the hashtag in the petition. He went through all of the necessary processes. He spoke to whoever he could. He really went out there. You know what I'm saying? So he really was serious about this. And I really commend him for wanting it that bad that he went out there to push for it so much. So now he's actually been on the news in certain aspects where they ask him about the petition. So he's very clear about it. And he's very clear what the group is not. And he says, he's very clear about the hashtag recast T'Challa. It's not about the Black Panther mantle. It's about the character and what it means, and what it means to black kids, and what it can mean to black kids. And with social messaging being the biggest issue that everyone wants to cry about on TV, about not having representation, should killing off the character represent anything else but another black man dying? That's how he's phrased it. And you know what? I could see that point. If we're going to go into social messaging, we say that we don't want all these critical race theory in our schools. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want your kids to be socially programmed. Well, social programming here. Because we don't, the first one, and we finally got it, that we created our own kind of Star Wars event thing around this character, where people dressed up and found personal pride into it. And the first thing we're gonna do, and we understand it was nobody's fault, but they was just so quick to bury the character. It doesn't seem fair to the kids that were, this new generation of kids that were finding some sort of like personal identity and relevance in that character, since this is what we discuss all the time. And not even that, the kids outside the culture that finally get a character that they could look up to, that is different, that they can actually think in a different light. There's something to be said about cultural diffusion on a certain level that these kids won't get the opportunity to experience. There's a lot of levels to this. You know what I'm saying? And especially for black kids. People are not aware that they've done the black doll test. And I forget the last time that they done it, but little black girls do find white Barbie dolls and dolls to be more beautiful than the black ones, on a natural kind of, like, on a reflex. There's something to be said about that. You know what I mean? Even though I might not have been one of those kids that was so wrapped up into, like, does this kid represent me per se in terms of black or Hispanic or any other kind of thing you want to go with. Because at the end of the day, for me, growing up, there was none. It was none. There just was none. So that was already like a given. So I never really tripped. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least like little girls could get a black variation of the Barbie, because at least those did exist, and they always made a black version of a lot of dollies that was more like dollies, like things for girls for the most part. There was some stuff like My Buddies or something like that. There was some stuff that they had like a black male variant, but most toys for boys were created from characters that were already like in cartoons or comics or something like that. So these characters came with their own personal aesthetics anyway. So kids usually found I would say boys normally identified with the character due to the character of the character, because it was already a given this character wasn't going to be, black. That was just, they just never really wrote well black characters like that growing up. Very seldom. Every now and again, you was lucky if you got one. Or if there was a good one, they were never like a starring character. Very seldom, though. Don't get me wrong. It was every now and again you had a character that was kind of a lead, if you will. You know what I mean? That was black amongst an ensemble cast of mostly white. But they always, you might have like other racial groups. And usually those kind of franchises usually kind of had a very diverse character set anyway, even though the lion's share might have always been white. Usually those type of franchises like G.I. Joe, or even, like I said, I'm thinking about Cops, they had other characters that were of other racial backgrounds for the most part, even though most of all of them were damn near 90% white. But that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So for me, and I think most boys growing up, we just try to identify with the character. Now, if we found the black character, yeah, then you might be super like attached to that, because not only I finally found the characters, because it was like that for me one character when I was young, and I didn't even know he was gonna be black. Like, real talk, I didn't even know he was black. I saw the suit, and I remember being like, oh, that's a dope suit. My favorite color was like black and blue, so there was a blue character, there's a black character, and I just like the suit, and it reminded me of this old cartoon, Voltron. And Voltron, the leader wore black anyway, was a black lion. I forgot though that even though he was in the Black Lion, he actually wore red in Voltron. But when I seen, like, what was it, Power Rangers, when it first came out, I was just like, yo, I just thought the black one was the leader until I found out, nah, that nigga ain't the leader. And then I found out that then I realized it was the black guy that was the Black Ranger. And I was like, oh, get the F out of here, he's black too. And he was cool. And for me, that was like, oh shoot, that was rare. Because most characters that that was my favorite character was usually the main character, which usually was white. And if they had a black character, he was always kind of like either the big, huge, buff dude, you know what I mean, or like the Mr. T of the A-Team, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like Mr. T was the first guy like that, was the big guy. Matter of fact, nah, I think that goes way back beyond him. But if they had a black character, he was just the big guy. You know what I'm saying? And when I was young, I don't know. I mean, I guess because I was short, I just never was like, oh, the big guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I just never was into that character. And I think part of me was always like, well, dang, the big guy is always a black guy. I don't know. It was just, And they never write them, or like every now and again you may get some written pretty dope, but it wasn't always like written with the care that they would write the original characters. Is what I'm meaning to say. You know what I'm saying? Or they were never written to be cool. And it was the first one that he was a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't going front, and he was into hip hop and all that shit. Like, that was like the first character, superhero, matter of fact, I think I ever seen that was mainstream. That was like a hip hop dude. You know what I mean? Now I ain't going from when I was a kid. Even I was like, I just wish he could just fight without doing the dancing in between, because I knew that was his gimmick to make him differentiate himself from the other character. And even in the first episode, I thought it was whack that when he was sparring with the leader, the Red Ranger, and he was white, the first thing he needed to say was, "Thank you for teaching me everything." I remember being a kid like, damn, man, like why couldn't he just been nice on his own? Like, why they had to attribute his skill to the Red Ranger? Why couldn't he be his own character? And I remember feeling like that the first episode. But all in all, love the character. Became my favorite. So it's understandable how we're coming from, E-Man is coming from, how that can affect the psyche of a lot of kids. And it's the character. And doing that, especially with Black Death being so prominent, why normalize it through this direction? Now, regular me be like, that's a lot heavy. I wouldn't even thought like that, because for me, I don't expect anybody to think like that. You know what I mean? Or even consider that for black people and black children alike. But it's something to be said, because I talk to other people, and I've heard some people say, dag, man, like, I grew up different. I would have really liked to have seen a character to look like me. I guess I just accepted it. And because I had my own imagination, I can make in my mind the character represents me, even physically. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you live vicariously through the character, if you will, but the character in your mind is you. You know what I mean? And I guess for me, I had such a strong imagination like that. But now when I think about it and re-ask myself, if they would have had these characters already when I was a little kid, like when I was a young kid, if Miles Morales was around, you know what I'm saying? How would that have made me feel? Because Miles Morales is just like literally a little me. Like, you feel me? And like all the way on so many levels. Like, so, like, I'm surprised I didn't make that character. You feel me? So, and Spider-Man's my favorite character. You know what I mean? But Peter Parker. But I really love Miles Morales. And sometimes I sit back and be like, yo, if he was around for me when I was a kid before I'd have ever seen Peter Parker, that'd have been my guy. That might have been my guy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's so me. That being said, when you understand that and where he's coming from about the social programming aspect as well, he does have it does make sense. It's a well thought out idea. You might feel like it's a gross overreach, but it should be taken well within consideration, especially for how they even sold the film culturally to the black community. It almost, especially with the brother out there on the record. Now, this is something that people are not discussing. And if I didn't come across his channel where he spoke on it, provided it, and I went back and looked for the video so I could watch it full, yo, the brother, Chadwick Boseman brother, is on the record for saying that how he feels about this, and he feels like his brother would have wanted T'Challa's character and the story that he started to carry on. And that's powerful. And that's very important. And it's so sad that no one speaks on this. Everyone's so quick to say this is for him. But the brother's out here saying, yo, I honestly think that you should carry this character on, if for no other reason, in the name of my brother. And you get that specifically, and that information specifically from E-Man. And you have to, it's well thought out. And like he says, you could go to the channel. I'm laying it down all to say this. He said he specifically spoke with John Campy, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had engagement online or something to that effect. And I think Cars, one of his co-hosts, to get in front of that misguided fake news, if you will. You know, he wanted to get in front of it and let them know this is what it's about. And if you don't believe me, go through here. Even when I went on his page and listened to went to his channel and listened to what he said. He said, I even went through John Campy. And when John Campy said, I'm the granddaddy of this, recast T'Challa, he was like, I was probably one of the first people to say it on the record. And he's not lying. When he said that, I always remember John Campy was the first one to say it mad quick. Like, he like when people was like, yo, should they? He said, nah, look, they should recast from the rip. And E-Man did his due diligence to look back before, you know what I mean, to see if this man was telling no BS. Now, he also had to acknowledge that they do this live on the show. People ask, but he said, yo, I wish you guys could have looked it up. Now, in defense of John Campia, well, I mean, they asked me a question in the pocket, so we can only speak on what we know or what we heard or with what we got. Anything else will be something else. So you have to respect that. But it was so appropriate to get in front of the story before people twist the narrative. Yeah, you're going to get some of those guys in that hashtag that's probably like, oh, we don't want to see a woman in y'all. There's going to be nonsense like that. And usually, I always think those guys are bad faith actors that are in there. They're not even really about the hashtag. They're more about making the hashtag look bad and more nebulous than it actually is. And to kind of coax people into like fighting and gaslight people into fighting, if you will, since everyone loves using the word gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? So I really do respect the fact and how he went about getting in front of it. This is something that the hashtag Snyderverse, Restore the Snyderverse movement needs a big lesson on. The leaders, you guys are leaders. I've been trying to get on a lot of platforms lately, and lately it's been getting real hard. When it was a little bit more easier, so it felt like, because it has to be harder now because I'm really trying to get this out there. This is our last shot. Zaslav just came in the building. This is the last shot for hashtag restore the Snyderverse. And I promise you one thing, Zaslav is not looking back once he makes his position on that matter. He's not going back. He's gonna make the best decision for his brand new company moving forward. And I'm very specific, his brand new company moving forward. He's not trying to rehabilitate the old regime. That's not my company. That was an old company. This is my new company. How would you want to start your new company off? It'd be smart to start off with a fresh slate. That's just the real. He's letting it be known by dropping Batgirl. He's about the money. The fact that that Flash movie he hasn't dropped yet gives us a shimmering gleam of hope. The fact that they got to put Ben Affleck back in there gives us a glimmering like sheen of hope that they might go back to Zack Snyder. But at any given moment, we already got Mira going against us. We got Ezra going against us, and we got all this big in-house bickering that, to be honest, it's really a lot more personal than it is got to do with the Snyder Cut anymore. Then you got the hit piece that came out of the Rolling Stone, and the fans are seemingly okay with being branded as toxic by fighting toxicity by being even more toxic. And whether they know it or not, because you got to ask yourself, can we sell your behavior as good people? If I was to take sound bites of how you speak online concerning the Snyder Cut, do you sound like a toxic person to someone that knows nothing about this fandom? You will. Whether they don't realize this passion, you sound wild over a movie. That's how we are sounding to a lot of people. Like, relax. Yo, relax. To the main people. So it's easy to say these guys are toxic. And especially when you go back and you can look and you see people calling for people to lose their jobs and, you know, and arguing and bickering and beefing, when what we were supposed to do was double down on the good nature of it. They did it in Autumn's name. For release the Snyder Cut, they raised money, they made charitable streams. Everybody came together. Whether you believe who bought billboards or not, people really were about this. Oh, there's a lot of bots, but about 85%. We know for the most part was regular people, human beings. Boom. 85% to the 15 or the 16. Come on, man. I mean, what are we going to do? What are we doing here? I think we need to really leverage the things that work that got us here in the first place. Letters, fandom videos saying please let the Snyder cut go. We not running campaigns. You guys got thousands and thousands of people that listen to you. You can have them send personal human videos. We are not bots. Hashtag. We are not bots. Hashtag. That could be the new trip, the new thing. I don't even need to set it off. I want you guys to set it off. We are not bots. Come on, man. Let them know where the money's at. People are buying the physical copy, the digital copies, the this, the that, the figures. Let them know that you guys are here to purchase. This is a viable source. And if you love Zack Snyder like you say you are, even the anti-Snyder Cut guys do have a point. How come you guys are not booming for everything, for Rebel Moon the same way? Why are we not raising hashtags Rebel Moon? Why are we not pushing it if it's all about Zack Snyder? I kept it funky from the rip. I like good movies first. That's why I like Zack Snyder. I think he makes good movies, and now I'm a fan of his. That's how that go. I'm just not out the window fan of Zack Snyder for Zack Snyder's case. I like his portfolio. I think he's done excellent work. He's made certain decisions in the DCU that I wouldn't have. I'm on the record for saying I wouldn't have. I really don't like Gotham City across the bay from Metropolis, but hey, we are here now. But I really did love BVS. Man of Steel's my jam. That's my favorite film out of all of the DCEU. Then comes see, I'm in the air. Then maybe Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then BVS. I might say it that way, position it that way. Yeah, I think, but that's just me. And instead of a set of videos about what we love, the best, like what's your favorite scenes and why you like this so much type of campaigns, all we're doing is saying F so and so, F so and so, F so and so. If there's more F so and so's out there that we can find on a simple YouTube search, then we look toxic. That's how we're gonna look. Upsell the positive angle of us. That's what made this fandom better than the rest. And I think that was also what made this fandom negotiable to them, that they said, you know what, we'll give you the movie. Just stop. Now look at us. We overplayed our hand. And we were lucky that AT&T bought in, that they were able to give us a chance at that. And instead of the first thing going out, and I said everything, there should have been a hashtag, thank you HBO Max for releasing the Snyder Cut, thank you Warner Brothers for releasing the Snyder Cut, and thank you Walter Hamada for releasing the Snyder Cut. Whether you didn't believe it or not, you should have just thanked everyone in the building that it's out, just because it's out, because we need you on our side. We need you to know that this is what we want. That's how you hustle. Like I said, like, can you strong arm? I'm not mad at the strong arm, but strong arm, when you really think about it, did not get us the Snyder Cut. It just didn't. It won few arguments when people came at us. Yeah, the armies was able to ride, but what got us there was the positive parts of it, the purchasing power, the buying of billboards and flying things and sending letters and all the campaigns that everyone did, and the hashtags upon hashtags, the positive gnat that won't get out of your face. That's what we was doing, and that's what got us here. Now we're here now, and we may lose the only opportunity we have to get the Snyderverse back and get Zack Snyder back into fold, for nothing else, for the next 10 years perhaps, to get us to a final crisis where Zaslav can reboot everything from scratch, or maybe even reboot it through Pattinson's joint once they're done with their universe, and then everything could fall right into place. I'm thinking a long game here, baby. I ain't got time to be arguing with motherfuckers that we don't see online and all that. I get it. Sometimes some people say some real stupid stuff. Hey, yo, I might be one of those who's dropping a whole paragraph because I got a lot to say on it, you dig? And I don't know, it may seem like I'm angry when you read it, but I'm really not, because these are movies, man. I just like good movies. I hate stupid shit that people say, but that's neither here nor there. I think that we really need to be very mindful how we handle our fandom groups, and be very wary, because people are watching. Zaslav is paying attention, and Ezra Miller's shenanigans doesn't help us. Mirror shenanigans doesn't help us. And if The Rock's movie doesn't hit well, that's gonna go against us, because that's the movie. If rumors are right, they put Superman's face in it, then now Superman and everything is tied to this universe, and it makes it even harder and harder to get us back on track. And that's what we need. And we need them to know that Zach at least had a vision. Go back to your visionaries. Make them want to go back and release the air cut. You know, being wilding out is not going to help the air cut campaign nor keep Zack Snyder campaign. It's not. Zaslav is not playing no game. And once he makes a move public, he seems like he sticks to his gun. He's not about showing weakness. And we got to play this game very well. Fandom needs to be on their best behavior, need to no longer argue or engage with anti-Snyder Cut cultists, if you will. We could do cult. If everything's a cult, then they're a cult. You know what I mean? We really got to remove ourselves from those type of entities. Now, I'm a nobody online. I just hope this could get to somebody, to get it to somebody, to get it to the right figureheads in this movement, so they can really think about first, can I sell my quote unquote army or clique, or my YouTube clique, or whoever, your followers, as a fandom? And if you don't want to readjust, no one says you should readjust or rebrand your channel. I wouldn't say that, because your channel's your channel. I respect all hustles. But if you true to the game and you want the Snyder Cut to be released, then you're going to have to make the decision of how to either remove yourself from the hashtag in terms of being a leader of it, or you're going to have to reconsider your approach to how you do it, or make sure that you as a leader let your guys know that, hey, we're done with the arguing with people, man. It's crunch time now. We need to really focus on what we love. Because right now, all Zaslav has let the message be known. If I can't sell this movie, I'm not with it. And our fandom cannot be sold to no one right now. It's been tarnished. That hit piece definitely didn't make anyone look good. So it's incumbent upon the YouTuber leaders in this fandom to start thinking about ways to bring more people into the fandom, rebrand the fandom, host certain, I don't know, like theme things, like this week your favorite scene, or find the emails sending like, you know, like videos of your favorite scenes from real people, and hashtag we are not bots, we are fans, and have people coordinate from all over the tube. That's the old way. That's the old way. And I hope you guys get this. I hope this gets out there. You guys can understand what I'm saying. Shout out to E-Man for getting in front of the fandom. Because the Snyder, like Restore the Snyder Cut fans are not getting in front of their fandoms and swatting down any negative PR and letting it be known, and make sure that you're the appropriate spokespeople for it. And you're a great representation of the fandom. And you make it a point, just like you guys wish WB would say something about Ezra Miller. Some of you guys got to start talking about and calling out some of your own folks for bad faith representation of the hashtag. If that's what we're going to do to be consistent. I'm not saying at the end of the day, we need to start separating ourselves from the negative part of the fandom. Like, we don't get down like that. That's not us. We don't know who that is. That may be your bots that you're looking for, but that's not our people. We just loved his movies and wanted to come back. We wish other people would love it like we do. Ask us why, we'll tell you. And then you'll show who's the real angry ones. Because as soon as you say, I like this, and they start saying, yo, F this and wilding out, then you showing who the toxic fans are. It ain't me. I'm telling you what I loved about the movie, and you've been cursing me out the whole way through. You'll see it in the hashtag. You let it out, and my favorite scenes, and find all the where your toxic ones are, shitting on Zack Snyder. And then make sure that all the Snyder Cut people that post their good stuff don't even argue with him. Don't argue. Just that would be a different way of selling the fandom, moving it forward, and really showing that Zaslav that we are a negotiable fandom. We want Zack Snyder back, and maybe in some kind of way he might bring him back. Maybe not to be the architect of everything. Maybe just to do Man of Steel 2 because he knew how to do 1 well. Or maybe he can direct the next Justice League, but we get him different writers. You know? But we gotta show we're a negotiable fandom. And when I mean by negotiable, not even for the trade-offs and that, just that we're communicable. Let's do it. Let me say it that way. That's a lot better. We're easier to talk to. We're easier to come to the table and build with. That's what we need. Because you see how they wanted to coordinate with fandom and the fans? They might not do that no more. Think about that. Shout out to E-Man again for getting in front of it, because you could see what they were. I watched it and I was like, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't call the hashtag recast T'Challa like this is what we're about. Like, we don't want Shuri. We don't want Shuri. I pumped that hashtag out there because it's not about not having Shuri. I think the character T'Challa is important, and he's integral to the name of Black Panther, and that should never be like misunderstood. We're finally building bringing that IP and really creating a franchise around it. And you're gonna rob the people of T'Challa, the character. It's just not right. It's just something don't sit right with it, man. He has a wealth of history, a wealth of character development. He's tied to so many different important and prolific characters that to really just say, hey, no one else could play this character, is an insult to the character. And I get it, the character isn't quote unquote real, but the character has a larger reach in terms of its name. That character, like Batman, has lived on for going on to a century, and it will go on even further. Chadwick Boseman was part of that legacy. Don't let it die. He's the guy that set off a character that may live on for 100 years. Don't bury him. We already burying the guy that set it off. May he rest in peace. Don't bury his good work. And especially if the brother's out there saying that he knows for sure that Chadwick Boseman would have wanted the character to continue, to give another black actor an opportunity to take what he started and build onto it, to further the character's narrative, to bring forth some stories that we would have never had gotten any other time. So there's some gentleman that's been out here been reading this character since they were kids, and they finally get him on the screen, and they can't even see their character engage in things that they've read in the comic books anymore. You've already gotten rid of Claw, his adversary, his Joker. Now T'Challa has nothing. And how long? And if the leaks are accurate, and T'Challa has a son, how long would it be before their son will be grown up enough to be T'Challa? And at what point you've adopted all his best stories and given it to who? If not Shuri, who? Nakia? Is she going to be the next Black Panther? Who? M'Baku? No. Even though they've won the title at one point, we don't need it in the second go out of a Panther movie. But that's why I think by the time this movie is released, it'll be just called Wakanda Forever. I think they leave Black Panther dead to keep it tied to the IP, but this isn't a Black Panther film. At least I don't look at it as. If the Black Panther isn't there, if T'Challa isn't there, it just doesn't feel like a Black Panther movie. And I have no problem going to see Wakanda Forever, a Wakanda movie. But I'm waiting on that Black Panther movie. Because even with Shuri being as Black Panther with so many different characters in it, it's not going to be focused on Shuri or the Black Panther. And if it so focuses more on the mantle than any character tied to it, then the mantle almost seems empty. There have been plenty of guys wearing Batman's cowl, but we already know who Batman is. Let's not play no game. And we all know who the Panther is. Even though it's written in their story, it is a mantle. There's only one T'Challa. There's only one Black Panther. We all know who it is, and it's T'Challa. That said, let me know what you guys think in the comment below. Am I on to something? I mean, I don't want to feel like I came at my fandom, but I want the fandom to do better. And I think we could do better. And I think we have the opportunity to do better. And I got long-winded with this one. And I'll probably make a shorter version of it because I really do believe that we need to get in front of our fandom. And if we don't get in front of our fandom, this is our last shot. And when Zaslav says it's a dub, it's a dub. We got about another year to clean up our act as fans and really start doing some real good, positive campaigning again. And I leave it up to you guys, because you guys got subscribers. I'm like, I got like nothing but tumbleweed on this side, but I have fun with it. But I just want you guys to know, if you enjoy this fandom, and it's all about the point, and the point is to see Zack Snyder be back part of redirecting and finishing his vision wherever his vision is now, then let's start doing something different and rebranding this fandom. Shout out to you, E-Man, for getting in front of the fandom of the hashtag recast T'Challa. You seen it on my page. I had told everyone from the hashtag recast T'Challa, please do not go out like other fandoms. Do not kill your name. And you are doing the Lord's work, my homie. You were smart. You got ahead of the fandom, and you're making sure you're a good representation and a good voice box of the fandom, and you will drown out all the negative vibes. And I'm sure if this gets even bigger and there's bigger names within the umbrella, you would be smart to advise them to represent the hashtag properly. That being said, I'm out. Leave it in the comments below. Let me know how you guys think. Shout out to everyone that's screaming it out loud and out proud. Hashtag recast T'Challa. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Hashtag thank you WB. Warner Brothers. Walter Amada. All y'all dudes for letting that movie come out. Even though some of y'all probably don't deserve thanks. It don't matter, thank y'all, because it got past y'all somehow, and I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could have even made it even harder to come out. But at the end of the day, at least at that time, at the end of the day, I want this fandom to do better, and I want this fandom to represent themselves proper. You already know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time, and as always, till I have a better outro. Chill.